Greetings from New York City. I'm Phil and we're running the bridges. It's a video series where we visit all the bridges in New York City that you can run across. The big, the small, the old, the new, the world famous icons, and the ones you've never even heard of. And today we are in Queens and we are visiting the Roosevelt Avenue Bridge. And this leads from Corona Willets Point neighborhood of Queens across the Flushing River into downtown Flushing. And so we're on the very northeastern portion of Flushing Meadows Corona Park. And just a little quick glimpse of where we are. This is Roosevelt Avenue here. And this intersection is with Seaver Way. And we are very close to, there's Citi Field, all right, where the Mets play. And it's a brand new stadium. It's going to be a soccer stadium. And doing my research, it's going to be called Etihad Park. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right. And it's going to be the home of, it says future home of New York City Football Club. I don't know if they're going to keep that name, but in any case, that's a new soccer stadium going up. So there's, and again, Flushing Meadows Corona Park is right behind me, basically. So plenty of great places to run. But now the bridge. The Roosevelt Avenue Bridge was initially planned as going back as far as 1913 as a way of extending the subway, which is currently the 7 line, but it was going to be extended all the way out to Flushing and then to Little Neck on the border with Nassau County. And it was interrupted by World War I, but it was finally constructed between 1923 and 1927. It opened for pedestrians and vehicular traffic in 1927, and in May 14th, 1927, and the subway service began in January of 1928. And the subway service goes to, only goes one more stop, Main Street, Flushing. It was never extended out to Little Neck out. They talk about it, but anyway, so this bridge, it carries 4 lanes of traffic, 2 in each direction. The subway is above us, and there's a sidewalk on both sides. Currently, the north sidewalk over there, they're doing construction. I don't know, I think they're always doing some kind of construction rehabilitation. Yeah, they're always doing some kind of construction rehabilitation, I think, around here. But it goes, like I said, it goes over the Flushing River, and it was originally designed as a twin-leaf bascule bridge. And at the time, it was actually the largest twin-leaf bascule bridge in the world, with leaves, each leaf 153 feet. The leaves total combined 153 feet. And the river itself is around 70 feet wide, but it's the roadway is built at an angle to the river, so the bridge had to be a little bit wider. So it was built between 1923 opened in 1927, and but it didn't stay a drawbridge for all that long, because, and keep in mind, that was 1927. That was before the park was built. And it was only developed as a park in 1939 for the World's Fair. And but when it was developed as a park, it was decided that it was no longer going to be workable as a navigable river. Long Island Railroad, which has, Long Island rail yards are right there. So Long Island Railroad had a swing bridge going across the river, but they at the time, by 1939, when they developed the park, it was decided that they needed tide gates and some sort of flood prevention infrastructure to keep the tides from flooding the lower levels of the park. And if you know Flushing Meadows Park, it's notorious for its flooding, especially the area around Meadow Lake to this day. But nevertheless, the Long Island Railroad converted their swing bridge into an embankment and tidal gate. And then there was also the Porpoise Bridge, which we did in the previous video, which was just beyond that, that is a tidal gate bridge as well. So it was no longer navigable. And finally, by 1961, the the bascule bridge, the drawbridge was never really used. And by 1961, they built the Van Wyck Expressway, or Van Wyck Expressway. I still say Van Wyck, and it actually goes underneath the Roosevelt Avenue Bridge, and I'll show you that a little bit later on. But when they built that in 1961, they finally removed all the mechanisms for the drawbridge, so it's fixed in place. It's not moving anywhere. But so here we are. Like I said, we're at Roosevelt Avenue and Seaver Way, named after Tom Seaver, the ball player for the Nets. Nice play there. And so we're gonna pause here. I'm gonna just go up Midway and show you a little bit of the Flushing River, then the Expressway, and show you what it looks like in the bridge. Okay, one second. Okay, so here we are at the midpoint of the bridge. And I'll just show you. Here's the Flushing River off to the south, and that leads to Flushing Meadows Corona Park, and you can even see some of the structure. The tennis center there, Unisphere, the New York Pavilion, New York State Pavilion over there. But there's the river, and you can see those wetlands. So it's still, still a natural area here in the middle of New York City. You can see also how the river kind of flows at an angle to the roadway. And just to show you also real quick, there's Van Wyck Expressway that goes underneath. And so right here is where the one of the pillars for the bascule bridge, and you can see just off to the east there's the other pillar. So this whole section, there, that used to lift up. But that's downtown Flushing, right over there. And we are again on the south side. The north side sidewalk is closed off. I think they're still in the process of like reconstructing the sidewalks. They did widen this, I believe, and they put in a bike lane, but it's just like a painted, and you can even see they have the arrows pointing just one direction. So I think the other side is intended for the bikes to go in the other direction, back west towards Flushing Meadows. And so we will go across here. So now this is the section, like I said, that initially used to raise up. But the roadway has been redone. I think that's where the seam used to be, and that's the Van Wyck Expressway. And there's still more of the river right down there. And again, that leads over to Flushing Meadows Park. Okay, and we'll just finish up here. This will eventually lead us to College Point Boulevard in downtown Flushing. Although we hit the ground a little bit before that. All right. So you do have to navigate the entry to this parking garage, and you can see the entry to the bridge on the other side over there. That's currently closed off. So we go past this shopping center. I believe it's called the Skyview Mall. Never been inside there, but this sidewalk will lead us to College Point Boulevard. And you can see by now already the subway is going back underground right here. And again, it only has one more stop at Main Street, Flushing. But of course, this is always being developed further. New buildings going up here in downtown Flushing. And we're in the heart of it, yeah. So, College Point Boulevard, downtown Flushing. And you see behind the bridge, the new soccer stadium, City Field over there. And so that is a little bit of a look at the Roosevelt Avenue Bridge. Oh, I should also mention, Roosevelt Avenue was named after Theodore Roosevelt, not FDR, but Theodore Roosevelt, and it's actually an extension of Greenpoint Avenue. So this is one of the longer streets between Queens and Brooklyn. So this goes all the way into Brooklyn, and the whole thing was named Greenpoint Avenue, but I believe it's Queens Boulevard, where on this side of Queens Boulevard they renamed it Roosevelt Avenue, but it's still Greenpoint Avenue going into Brooklyn, and then goes all the way to the East River. So let's look at Roosevelt Avenue Bridge. Hope you enjoyed that. Thank you for watching. Hope to see you out here running sometime, and we'll see where the wind takes us from the next one.